All right, this is going to be a quick little lecture on pedigrees. I know some of my classes, we ran short on time. We were trying to get through so much information. So this will help you out if either we didn't get through the entire lecture or if you're just still struggling. So remember, pedigrees are going to be more of a family tree. It's showing a history through generations and looking at inheritance as it goes through generation to the next. There are two types of pedigrees. You're either going to have dominant or recessive that we focused on this year in class. So the first question is, what type of inheritance pattern is shown below in this pedigree? Now, if you look at this pedigree, there is 1, 2, 3, and 4 generations. Okay, so if you look at generation 2 right here and generation 3, all of a sudden there's no shading there. So when that happens, we know that it is a recessive pedigree. And I always say write the word and then scribble after it. And what does that mean? That means that all of the shaded boxes, whether they are circles, which represent a female, or a square that represents a male, okay, those are going to get the recessive letters or the recessive genotypes. So far we've identified this as a recessive pedigree. Okay, and how did we know that? Number 2, it's because it skipped generation 2 and generation 3. So right now in this yellow pen, you can see in generation 1 that this female is shaded. And then it skips generation 2, generation 3, and then down in generation 4, all of a sudden we see some shading coming back again on this male and this female. So the reason we call it recessive is because it skips generations. So the reason I do this little doodad up here at the top where I write the word recessive, because I just make a mental note, and then I scribble to show that the shaded ones are going to get recessive letters. Now in number 3 it says write the genotype next to each individual, for each individual next to the symbol. Place the letters A or little a. So we are using capital and lowercase a to represent our alleles and our genotypes. So when we look, I'm going to put these in blue, okay? Oops. Go away. Go away. Done. Yep. Get off there. Okay. So recessive shading. So that means all the shaded ones are going to get the recessive little letters. Okay, so they get little a, little a, little a, little a, little a, little a. All right. That means that this female and this male are up top. They are mating. That's what the tie is between them two. And then it drops off, mating here, drops off into a T-bar. And this is going to be all of their offspring that are attached to that T-bar. So they had a boy, then they had a girl, and then they had another boy. And it appears as though only their third child, their son, goes on to reproduce more children and carry on through the generations. Now, the one thing you can take from this pedigree, if we look at this double little a up top, is that that's all that female right here can offer to her 3 children. So you can go right away, I'm going to fill these in green, and say that this male on the left has to have a tiny a, because that's all his mom could have given him. Same with his sister and his brother. Now they are not shaded, so you know that their other letter has to be a capital A. Okay? Now, when we look at this father way up at the top, this male, well, we know that he's not shaded, so he has to have a capital A, but we don't know. His other letter could have been another capital A or lowercase. So in that case, you just put A nothing. A. We don't know what the second one is. Now let's go down all the way to the bottom and see if we can work up and fill in more. This boy over on the far left, okay, I'm looking at this square right here. He has two little A's. He had to have gotten one from his mom and one from his dad. They are not shaded, so their other letter is a capital A. Now when we go to the brother right here and the brother right here out of those four kids, we know they're not shaded, so they have to have a capital A. But the other parent who did not give them the capital A could have given them a lowercase or a capital, so we don't know this one as well. So we'll put a hyphen in there. Let's see if we can fill out any more. I don't believe so. And that's kind of what ends up happening is if you can't work down or up using those homozygous recessive genotypes, then you just simply start, I'm going to use a green pen here, filling in a something. We know that they have to have a dominant letter in there. Okay, so this would be a recessive pedigree.